Do you want to know what Layne Staley's mother told me? Layne Staley, as in the lead singer of Alice in Chains, Mad Season, and Class of '99. Layne Staley, the guy with the big voice. Well, kind of the conversation I started off with his mother was about his voice. Like, man, just like after hearing his voice, it sounded like he was like a 70-foot tall Godzilla god type creature. She's like, well, no, he wasn't that. If you'd ever seen his room, you'd understand that far from God was he. But anyway, so we were talking back and forth. I think we talked some on the telephone and some via email. And anyway, the conversation of drugs came up, and she asked me a question, and apparently I responded to it in the wrong way. And then she said, do not, whatever you do not ever, and I mean ever, breathe drugs in that child's face. Ever. I said, but hey, this is like in 2004, a couple years after Layne died. And I said, well, I don't use drugs. I drink, She said, alcohol is a drug, and when you breathe that drug in that kid's face, you're basically putting voodoo on that child, and you don't need to do it because he'll have a craving for it the rest of his life. Don't breathe your drugs in your child's face. Layne's daddy did that, and you see what happened. Of course, and I was like, but, and then she said, have a good day, sir. And that was the last time I spoke with her. So basically, she just kind of, I mentioned just the most minimalist thing about it that I could. And she, she was well versed in how everything worked. She lost her child. He was 34 years old in 2002 when he passed. I was 32 in 2004, a couple years later. Layne was about 4 or 5 years older than me. He was born in 67. August of 67. I was born in November of 71. So like 4 years. So anyway, it kind of stood out to me. Of course, I remember that over all these years, and of course, I could never even get myself to tell it because I didn't ever really want anybody to know that I did drink when I did drink. Now, of course, it's been almost 3 years since I've had alcohol in my mouth or anywhere, and it's just it's a different word. I can talk about it a little bit because that was my excuse. That's my drug of choice. That's the drug I grew up with, the one that was breathed into my face. I've been drinking it ever since I was old enough to walk, I guess. Pick up a can, or a bottle. Because, back in the 70s, they were everywhere. Alcohol was different. People drink at work. It was a different world. You're growing up then versus growing up now. I say it is. It's a different world for me because what that woman said to me, what Layne Staley's mother, her name was Nancy, I believe her name is Nancy. I think she's still alive. I'm pretty sure she is. I think she's still doing like some kind of a non-profit organization helping with drug abuse and such. I have to look it up and see what it is. You can look it up too, but I know she's involved in some kind of a non-profit associated with Layne Staley. Layne Rutherford, that is Layne Thomas Staley. He changed his name in his teenage years. He did not like the name Rutherford. Anyway, so she said those things to me, and of course it made it real for me when this woman told me that. I mean, she had experience. She lost her child to drugs and alcohol. Mostly drugs with Layne. Like I said, he died on his couch on April the 5th of a speedball overdose. That's heroin and cocaine. And he was there until the 20th of April. So you're looking at a bunch of days, 25th of April. He was there about 20 days, as I recall. Of course, and the only reason they ever recognized that he was gone, that they needed to check on him, I think the accountant called his sister and was like, hey, Layne's not spending money. He's not buying drugs. He hasn't bought anything in 20 days. So you may want to do a welfare check on him. And of course they got there, and of course, he was dead. His drug kit, the 8-ball sitting on his chest around him and such. Dead on the couch. Dude was 6'1". He weighed 70 something pounds, 60 something pounds. His body was emaciated. I mean, it was just eaten down to nothing from all the drugs, the chemicals he'd pushed through his body for all those years. And his mother had to come identify him. And, the things that she said to me, what Layne Staley's mother said to me, don't breathe drugs in your kid's face. She knew what it will happen if you do that to kids. Unbridled, certain kids. And you don't ever know which one it is, so the best thing to do is not breathe it in anybody's face. Not your child's face. Don't breathe your drugs, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Don't breathe your drugs in your child's face. You should be embarrassed that you're coming around your child with drugs on your mouth. Because when you kiss you, they know. Of course, that makes it easy to pop pills and all that kind of business. I know. But look, that stuff's still on your breath. It's impacting you, the way you breathe, everything. You can tell. Kids know. And they sense that if it's okay for you to do it, well, it's okay for them to do it. Powerful words, man. Scary, powerful words. And that's it. I'm out. Brad's Bits. Quick bites. Layne Staley's mother.